So we are here today to talk about predictions and theories for Friday's episode.
How much do you reckon one of the comments would be? If Sarah's not here, I'm not going to bother.
She'll be here on Friday. So we don't know any more than you guys do. We don't have the episode in advance. A lot of channels got it. We're just pure speculation based on what we've seen. The only thing we have is the season trailer that they released ages ago.
Although Apple, if you're watching.
They took down the last video. Apple doesn't like us. That's proof that we're not paid by Apple. The finale.
The big build-up to Cold Harbour, the hour, 10 minutes.
We do know a few things. We know that it's quite long. It's almost movie length. And we know that it will have a decent amount of violence in it.
Oh.
Because the Australian Classification Board has put it at a 5 out of 6, basically.
As opposed to...
It's TVMA. It's MA15 plus over here. And it's a scale that goes 0 to 6, and it's a 5. So that's a definite. We will get some blood.
Yeah.
What is the main thing you want to see from the finale? Not of like what you think will be in it, but what you
I would
want.
like to see.
Yeah, what's your big want?
You know, you're thinking about the obvious one, but then what are these clever writers going to actually do instead? But your obvious one is a tentative partnership with Cobell. They're going to go make their play to get in there, get down there, and go try and get Gemma out, but then also figuring out what Cold Harbour means, and hopefully not ending on some like she's alive level cliffhanger. Like, it better not be we open the door to Cold Harbour and then cut to black, see you in 2-3 years. So what I'm hoping for is almost the closing of this. If we think of it in arcs, like all the mysteries we've had these last 2 seasons will be closed off. We know what Cold Harbour is. We know more or less what the plan with Severance was, which we kind of do now. There maybe is a more nefarious undercurrent reason that I think we'll figure out. But then I do think it'll be one of those, like, in figuring all this out, there's now this grander mystery.
Yes, I do want a bigger mystery to be revealed, but I do need some answers. For me, I need to know why Gemma.
Why Gemma? Yes.
I need to know what Cold Harbour is.
Yes.
And I need to know what the numbers are.
The numbers, basically. What do they mean?
Exactly what the numbers are doing.
Yeah, I think numbers will relate to Cold Harbour, so I think they're one and the same, but I need to know that.
Do you expect the way they get in then? Because we've been setting the cracks up in Milchick, haven't we? With the Black Erasure stuff. And then last week, obviously, being his big, like, eat shit moment.
I do need to see the big crack in Milchick. I think he needs to do something big.
Do you think it's going to be the...
Leave the door unlocked when you leave tonight.
If you ever watch season 1 of Prison Break, we haven't directly done anything.
He needs to let them slide or something.
Yeah.
From the trailer, we do have him running and taking off his tie.
Like a classic Milchick run
Yeah,
down
like
the
running
corridor.
down the corridor because the man never stops working. He's undoing his tie.
That could be fun.
He has to do something, so whether that's stopping them or whether that's an alarm goes off. We do also have a lot of flashes of red.
But then also we have the big boss is in the building.
Yes, we have Drummond throwing Mark up against a wall.
Yes, but then we have actually Jame Egan is down there.
Oh, he's down there from last week, yes. So something big is happening with Helly.
Because now they've made the plan with Innie Marks. When he goes to work, he knows directly what he needs to do.
Yeah, I would wager we're starting this episode exactly where we left the last one, which is talking to Cobell.
Yeah.
So hopefully Cobell explains some shit. She does have the line in the trailer.
There'll be no honeymoon ending for you.
It does cut there. We don't know if there's more. Maybe it's for you and Gemma, because she's saying Gemma's about to die, or Helly, or just maybe it is just stops there and it's Mark. Hey, sorry, buddy. Your life sucks. Oh, I'd also love to know what the goats mean. I don't think we will. That's my, like, pie in the sky. If they explain the goats, even vaguely, like, they're just like, we needed their milk for some reason, I'll be like, fair enough. Weird, but fair enough.
We haven't talked about the emotional, like, expectations. So I do think you're going to have Innie Mark maybe gets to her and gets her out, but then maybe Outtie Mark with her, they only get, like, a few seconds before something happens.
On that, it feels like we need, like, I don't know, a Gollum situation, or like in his mind palace.
All right.
Our two protagonists have never spoken. Their goals seemingly align, but Innie Mark has no idea that if he gets out Gemma, that once Outtie, Gemma, and Outtie Mark go
He'll
off,
never exist again.
they would never go back to Lumen.
But then he is reintegrating. So isn't the idea with this reintegration that it will be the forming of two entities? Because we had that interesting debate with Sarah last episode where just how much of the Innie and the Outtie are similar or different. Like how much of Helly is just the repressed frustration that Helena feels, at the whole company because she's just so in fear. When she gets down there, it's that repressed frustration comes out and she's like, fuck this place.
Yeah, which is the question of, as soon as that happens, Innie Mark doesn't love Gemma, Innie Mark loves Helly.
Yes.
So if we do get reintegration finally in this episode,
this weird love octagon or something.
yeah, it'll be weird to see how they convey the fact that he loves two women, because like that's a completely internal struggle. Wheel of Time's going through the same thing. So do we have Innie Mark, Outtie Mark in a big, vast white room talking to each other? Because they're very different. Outtie Mark is incredibly sarcastic. Like they're pretty well defined.
They are, and like I guess as a dumb fan of it is I miss my Innie Mark adventures. I remember when you in the early episodes you brought up how you loved that Innie Mark thought he was under some secret mission from his Outtie.
Yep.
And I kind of wish we continued that a little bit more.
I did like that thread of like him thinking he's a secret agent when his Outie's just like confused or like not even sure what's going on.
Yeah.
It was an interesting way to do your protagonist.
Well, like, not to be too summary, but his first thing he did was run to go find Gemma, can't find her. Then he starts printing off the "Have you seen this woman?" Has that whole thing. Then we have the ORTBO. Then we have sex again with, because then we have the whole funeral thing.
Yeah. Innie Mark doesn't have too much of a goal.
Too much after the ORTBO.
I think that's where a lot of people's frustrations of nothing has happened.
Since the initial 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, because Innie Mark's goals haven't shifted, haven't changed in any way. He is still kind of stuck at the point where he was like, hey, Helly, want to come look for Gemma with me?
I think that's what it is that it went from being, I have to go find Miss Casey because one, he's a nice guy. He knows it's morally wrong, but then he knows that it's his Outie's wife or his wife. But then that has kind of went away pretty much the moment he had sex.
But now that he does have a stronger connection to both Helena and Helly, it'd be super interesting to explore the fact that he might not exist if he rescues Gemma. So I assume he has to choose. That could be a cliffhanger for the episode. Like, that gives you a season 3 if he, like, gets out with one of them.
Yeah.
I think it was only for season 2, but the picture for season 2 on Apple was all the Audis, like, leaving this magic door in the middle of a car park. So it was kind of like the Audis get to escape into the real world. We haven't really done anything like that. Like, that kind of made me feel like maybe they switched it permanently to Innie's get to leave for a bit. I did expect more Innies in the outside world because of that one image, but maybe that's just a cool artistic rendition of something. Like,
that's true. I guess what I want is I want there to be a big emotional punch for both Marks. I think they've been sitting in limbo, and I think this 73 minutes I'm hoping is a full Mark-centric thing. And given the way that we've put Irv on the train, Dylan has decided to go home and pack it in.
We do have Dylan kissing his kids that hasn't been in the show yet.
But is that Innie Dylan or?
We don't know, but
Okay.
I think it's in his... I'll bring it up. I think it's his family home. He's kissing his kids. So maybe we do get a little bit of Dylan just to like close off last episode.
Because then doesn't Outtie Dylan has to agree to the resignation?
He does.
So that'll be the question there.
So maybe we get a big Outtie Dylan moment with his wife where she's like, I don't want you to quit. And then he's like, maybe I can be better.
And yeah, well, maybe we can make this work and you can...
Throuple!
Coital visits or something.
Yeah, maybe it'll be, I need to be more like my Innie.
Yeah.
So sure, I'm going to quit. But he didn't die in vain. He fixed our marriage.
Sure.
Like, he got me out of a rut. Because that would be a complete arc for Outtie Dylan. Like, his Innie Dylan sacrificed himself to get Outtie Dylan to, like, get out of a rut. Whereas he's been stuck in a rut. So that would be more satisfying than never seeing Dylan again.
Yeah.
Whereas with Irv, the only unsatisfying thing, I guess, is we don't know why he was investigating. Or like who for. I guess we don't need to. Like that's not like a massive string.
It doesn't feel like anymore, does it?
No, not after seeing how nice it was seeing him go on his journey.
Because don't you think it'd be fairly cheap if Irv returns after it's such a movie, like indie movie ending, like to an Oscar winner or something.
It's like it's well made and ambiguous, and you don't want to fuck with that, I feel.
Yeah, it'll just make that whole sequence with him, but it might cheapen it.
For sure, yeah. Especially on a rewatch, you're like, oh, it's not really, this isn't a big moment because he's going to Han Solo back later on and be like, get in, and then drive off with them.
Do you think Helena is pregnant? That's why she wasn't having raw eggs, because she had to have cooked eggs.
I got the feeling she never took them raw.
Someone said she always takes them raw, and that's why she says, I wish you took them raw.
I wish you'd take them raw.
But then I think that would have been maybe they don't want him to be so clear about it, but like, wouldn't it be, why aren't you taking them raw, or don't you usually take them raw?
Yeah, I like the reach on that one, but I think it really is she's a bad Egan.
I just feel like Mark, you know, let's say he completely integrates, so both Marks understand who this woman is and know that she's a manipulative Gretchen. This is a typical sequence of like strangling her, and then she's like, I'm pregnant. You know, like, which feels very...
Not this show.
Not this show, exactly.
There have been so many fertility things that I wouldn't be shocked. And I'd be like, oh! But I can't bring myself to think they've done nothing solid on it. And it feels like we don't have enough time. But I guess if they do use it, it might be like that. But maybe it'll be more subtle somehow. Another weird thing with Helly's story is I reckon we start exactly where we left those two as well. Like, Jame's going to do something to her or bring her downstairs. A lot of people are saying that he likes Helly R more than Helena.
Yes, I'd say that, because he showed Helly a bit of care when he maybe thought it was Helena.
He did think that was Helena, but he also said,
I cried in my bed when they told me what she tried to do to you. What that Innie tried to do.
Yeah.
Which means he thinks of the severed people as slaves and stuff.
But then that's the only time he showed his daughter what we've seen, any kind of love and affection.
Yes, I assume because she had done this great thing and got severed, and he's like, you're doing good for the company.
I think it's also meant to be just tragic that Helena did not get to witness that. Did not get to go, oh, my dad actually cares.
Yeah.
All she got was the fetid moppet thing.
Fetid moppet.
It feels like he doesn't like the Innies at all. And he does think of them as slaves. He thinks of them as subhuman.
And then we now know that the marketing is that Severance is James' idea, officially. He stole it from Cobell.
Mine! My designs!
My design.
Yes, but it's bringing over all of the theories that Kia always wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And then that James probably became, like maybe some billionaires do, a bit self-important and now believes in this. You know, he's like kid himself into thinking it was genuinely his idea. So then he's then like, in some weird way, he thinks of the work self as the purer self. So then he likes Helly.
If he didn't say the line...
Unless in that moment he knows it's Helly, but then why would he know it was Helly?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, that all seems a little incongruous, a little random there. Whereas what I could see is he decided that the severed personalities were his children. Like, he created them, so they're his flock. And then maybe he would love them like Jesus loved his disciples. I could see that, but he doesn't show it at all.
Right.
We've seen nothing, and then you lied to me. Like, he seems to think they're subhuman because they're treated basically as subhuman. Like, Milchick does show them some kindness.
Right.
When he's not torturing them. But like Lil Huang, she says, why do we treat them like people? They're not people. So like, it seems like the company philosophy is that if you're in management, Innie's a subhuman.
Yes.
But I don't know what
that's
we're
the
doing
whole point
with
of it.
Helena. Her role in this story will be very subsequent to Mark, and we'll see what Mark does.
Do you think the water tower is just a giant red herring? Like, it's for the internet. They put that in there for the internet sleuths. Like, the water tower in the Keanu Reeves video.
I don't know if they did it because of speculation. We did have theories about the water tower before Keanu literally said, what do you think, water tower? So they might have put that in to like exacerbate it.
People were thinking, it's always winter. The emphasis on fruit, that Lumen were in some form controlling water.
And it's so water-based, the logo is water.
Yeah, that there's something to that. But then, obvious background thing that when you watch season 1, you're going, yeah, look at all that fresh fruit they just had.
Yeah, it is funny that they always do fruit, especially like up and down as well. We did have a comment that said, what if the water tower is a big radio tower to like broadcast the Severance signal? And that's so like camp villain. I absolutely love it. Like, that'd be the funniest thing to me if they're just like, I don't know, like a satellite dish comes out the top of it. I will die of laughter. That'd be hilarious. Like, it's very Kingsman, like Samuel Jackson's evil radio waves. That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
For me, it would pass the point of like, that's stupid to it's so camp. That'd be hilarious.
Do you expect a Devon reveal? Because we were all, for a few weeks there, we were all looking at Devon's husband, who has since been missing in action for a few weeks.
But you're right. I do want something from Rikken. I want to know why he was in this season at all. I need that Innie Lumen book that he's writing. I think something needs to come of that. It wasn't one scene. They bring over the idea and say, hey, I want you to make a book. And then we see another scene of him writing a book. Like, it's been a recurring thing. So they would just kind of be wasting our time if we never get like an Innie Lumen book.
Exactly. And Devon and him were at that cabin. So those cabins are owned by them, and then you have to go through the security. And then, as she said, this is one of James. So then that has led... Well, it made me think there was maybe just something up with Devon, but then maybe there isn't. Like you don't think at all. You think
that'd be too twisty for me.
Because what is she trying to achieve if she's secretly a Lumen head?
Yeah, I feel like she's more of an audience surrogate, and everything is ridiculous to her, and she tries stuff that seems outlandish because like we're coming up with ideas. People were saying go to the birthing lodge, and Devon's like go to the birthing lodge. Or people like, Mark, you have a giant fucking hole in your head, and then Devon's making jokes about the air whistling. I think she really is just like us seeing how absurd the world is. I'd like to know what happened with Gemma's accident.
Oh, yes, because we both agree that this is actually Gemma. It's not some clone of Gemma that
yes,
they're
I think this is
poking at.
100% confirmed. This is Gemma. The only thing I'm not sure of is whether she was a Lumen plant or whether it was the whole Twilight Zone. We let our experiment out into the world with like fake memories or something. She fell in love and we just went with it.
Interesting, because in that Gemma episode, she says, and then I get to see Mark. Like that's clearly been the carrot on the stick for her.
Yeah.
If you do this for us, we'll eventually let you go. And then when he hits him with the Mark's moved on and he's got a kid, which obviously hits her because she couldn't get pregnant.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously Stockholm Syndrome is a thing, and if you beat someone down enough, they will just accept it. But we saw her when she wasn't severed and just in her sad little apartment room. Obviously, she did try to escape, but it didn't feel like someone who had a normal life and then is now here. But then who knows? If you've been down there long enough, you maybe accept your environment.
Yeah, or they're lying to her saying she's sick, and that's part like what they're doing to her is fixing her. But then again, she knows it's been over 1 year that she's been gone.
Yeah.
So they totally could have lied to her and said, hey, you've only been awake for 3 weeks. I need to know why Gemma, what she's for. There can be definitely underlying stuff. Like this season doesn't have to end here.
No, but it feels like we're going to a place where it's like, where else could this... I think it's a great compliment towards the show where most of the time you kind of can guess where things are going. I felt like with last season, we kind of could guess, like maybe if I was on episode 8 going episode 9, I was like, well, obviously he's going to have to learn that Gemma is his wife. Like that feels like an obvious thing.
Yeah.
But with this, do you think we're getting a death? Do you think Milchick's going to bite the bucket?
It'd be big. I don't think so though, because we've had so many metaphorical deaths. Like we've probably had... Although it could be interesting to actually kill someone, and we do have gore.
Oh yeah, we have gore, so then we are looking at some kind of violence.
Yeah, there's something. Okay, so we have, for themes, we have a 5 out of 6, MA 15+. For violence, we have an MA 15+. Language is a 4 out of 6, so people say some fucks, I think, at least one. No drug use, no nudity, but a 3 out of 6 for sex. There's going to be a little bit of sex, so whether that's mild impact, actually, they've written. So I'd say mild impact, they have to do more than just kissing. Okay. Although I don't know how nerdy the Australian Bureau is as to whether they care too much.
Obviously, this is subjective. I've been paying attention to the overall vibe of the fandom of if things are turning. Like, I remember I sent Sarah a few annoying TikToks of like a guy talking about like episode 8. Like the Severance writers on episode 8, what if we made just a really bad one? What if we just did a really bad job once?
I've seen a lot of it where the general consensus is still incredibly positive, like it's the best show on TV, but a lot of people are saying season 2 doesn't hold a candle to 1. Most of their comparisons are to season 1. Like, they're not saying this show's bad now. They're really kind of saying like...
It's not as good as.
Yeah, it's not holding up to their expectations.
And is that just down to the concept itself really suits that opening section of like, what does all this mean? But then, and maybe this is just, the awkward middle chapter.
And also, as we said, though, Mark's story really hasn't progressed, especially Innie Mark, who is technically our hero more than Outtie.
It's become a concern of mine. Like, we saw it with Mandalorian season 3, we saw it with The Bear season 3, and here is Severance season 2, even though that one was a deserved flashback episode where you start getting these like random ass standalones in the middle of your, like The Mandalorian had that Coruscant
little spy drama.
Yeah, it took it felt like an hour. It was probably only 35 minutes.
But it was also one of the better episodes.
Yeah, so. It was one of the better episodes. But then you had The Mandalorian buried away in the Boba Fett as well.
Yeah. Mythic Quest also does it, but I love it in Mythic Quest. Basically once a season, they just take episode 7 to do whatever the fuck they want. It's usually somewhat related.
With this, when I'm sitting down here on Friday evening, what would I be happy about? Like, what would I be going, that was so good? And for me, I want some emotional payoffs for Mark. I'm not so interested in the reveals of what they're up to, of what the company's up to.
What about the goats?
Yeah, for me, I guess my big thing is I want Mark's storyline to have some big steps forward for him as a character.
Yeah.
Because I feel like ever since we made the decision to reintegrate, we've kind of just been flying around. And when we first said, wow, can't believe he's reintegrating, that's going to be so sweet. And I kind of want, even though I don't think we would have learnt much, I still kind of want that Mark S's first week on the job episode, which I thought we were going to get. I think ever since when that didn't happen, I remember sitting down excited for that episode, and then I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because it ended thinking we were going to get that, like with him waking up on the table, you know?
Yeah. So main thing is we need a big Mark payoff.
For sure.
Emotionally. And I think that would probably come down to him and Mark S's goals aligning. We need Innie and Outtie to decide what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And have, like, that's kind of the most direct you can wrestle with it there, because Innie and Outtie Dylan, it's about the same woman.
Yeah.
Irv kind of didn't really need to work at Lumen. He was, like, his Outtie sent him there so that he could do something. And then he got addicted to a hallway because he saw it in his dreams. Helly is a big split between, but they're like completely different people. But then Mark S really is like one man, two goals. Like, we need to see that. Give me a choice. Give me Mark's choice.
What is this show if we're not going to Lumen and severing? So I feel like the show has to end with us being severed in the office doing a task.
Yes, they have mentioned that they're working on season 3.
Unless they end this arc of Mark and then we have a new cast of characters. But then that never works, does it?
Yeah,
You know?
that's killing your own show. So it has to be either we end it here, although again they're talking about that they're writing stuff. So maybe they swing it both ways. Maybe they're like Dylan's story, they've ended it. Maybe this episode will end it and it's like ambiguous, but they could come back. So maybe he has two choices. He saves Gemma, and then season 3 could be he comes back for Helly, or there is no season 3, he gets out and then Helly suffers because Helena sucked.
How far can this story go beyond the initial conception, the initial, like...
If people felt this season was stretched, imagine if we finished the goal of even this season. What are they doing next?
Yeah, because I haven't read the books, but like my favorite Hunger Games films are when they're doing the Hunger Games. Like, so I kind of lose interest in films.
Well, I mean,
3
even
and
she
4.
realized because she decided that Quintuple was a thing.
She just released a new flashback novel about Haymitch's.
Oh, that's why we're getting a movie.
Well, we likely will get the new Haymitch movie because she's realised, oh, I've got just like a cash cow here of like, oh, it's such and such's games. But that would be the example that I would come to, is that, yes, we just had a whole thing about the Hunger Games are over, but everybody quite likes watching the Hunger Games.
Because they haven't written it yet, they've actually been able to watch the reaction to season 2, and maybe they'll be like, okay, people did think that we slowed it down too much.
Maybe.
Season 3, maybe we should pick it up.
But then that's what I'm saying, like, what is this show if we're not all in a weird white office doing random tasks and the guys coming in going, it's a maraca party today? Like, what is that show if we don't have that?
Yeah, how far away can you stray?
Which is my question. And it's not me bitching, it's a genuine creative question.
As a writer, it's like, how? Like,
Yeah, like...
how far can you stretch it? It's going to be very interesting to see, because obviously if they do it well, you're like, holy shit. And if they do it poorly, you're like, yeah, fair enough. I guess it is too hard to bring it past its thing. So I wouldn't be shocked if they do just leave it ambiguous and they're like, hey, is there a season 3? I don't know.
I don't think we're conquering Lumen or anything in this.
I don't think in any form of this story does Lumen topple.
No, and then we're told that Cold Harbour's 100%, Gemma's already dead, and we don't know if that means Gemma's dead or mind wiped or whatever, but dead, no longer.
Yeah.
And also you have to imagine that this is such a big, massive company that, you know...
They're doing the exact same thing in 200 other countries?
Yeah, maybe, or this type of shit's happening all the time, so...
The way they're talking about it is that Cold Harbour is as big as Severance, like, again.
For some reason I always go to, like, the... Not to spoil the film, like the Get Out thing, like putting your conscious in a new body. And then, so then I connect it to the... Because in my head canon is the board are the uploaded consciousness of previous ones, or I don't know how they've done it.
Especially because Severance wasn't around back then.
How they have done it, but for some reason the board for me is always, it's weird. They only exist there. There's someone who speaks for them.
We have a Kia Egan animatronic turning its head in the trailer.
Oh, like what maybe spoke about in episode 1.
So, yeah, it literally just goes...
Oh.
Like, that's the whole thing in the trailer. What that means, who knows? Maybe it's like Mark going through a little psychosis thing.
I'm conscious of the fact that if this episode slaps, I'll forgive everything. Like, I'll go, oh no, it's all there seeding that amazing finale.
Yeah.
So I'm fully aware
no
I
matter
might
your
do
thoughts
that.
on episode 8, you're like, yeah, but that finale.
Yeah, that finale, yeah, it was worth it.
The last thing that's like pie in the sky, the mysterious man in the hallway from
I
episode
thought
1.
it was Jame. I'm honestly thinking it was Jame.
It doesn't look like him, but again, it's so blurry. Like, they made it look too much like Mark, but that was probably on purpose.
And do you want an explanation for the Uncanny Valley clones that we've all just
I'm
kind of
never
forgot
getting that.
about?
I've
But that
accepted
is
that.
just a weird thing that is just...
I think that was a bad creative choice on their part to not use either the MDR watches.
Oh.
I think it could have just been them far away. We wouldn't know. I think it's mainly annoyed me because I'm very sensitive to CGI. Like, I worked in it for ages. I can see it. So when I know something's CGI, I'm now wondering, why is it CGI?
Right.
Why not just get one of the MDR watches dressed exactly like it from 73 yards away, just pointing?
Cool.
But I've accepted I'm never getting anything on that. But the mysterious man would be interesting. But the only thing I really want, apart from, yes, I agree, an emotional Mark payoff is 100% what I need. I need Mark, Innie, and Outtie to both do something huge.
I think they're going to give a reuniting with Gemma, but they're going to make it horribly tragic.
Yes, this ending's probably going to fuck us up.
Yeah.
But I really do need to know what the numbers in Cold Harbour are. I need that.
Do you think it'll be like a Rose and the Doctor in season 4 when he fake regenerates?
I
So they're
mean,
running
if they do
exterminate.
if she was severed, maybe the whole thing is like, I was going to get rid of my Innie. Your Innie is always your Innie. Maybe there's a real Gemma in there.
Maybe he agrees to be fully Innie as long as he's with her.
Yeah.
So then even though they don't know each other, at least they're down there. So it's this Adam and Eve thing in the 7th floor.
And he'll at least be asleep for it.
Yeah.
And she's safe, or I don't know.
Like
I don't know what he would accept.
Like
but,
a switch situation. Yeah.
but I do need to know Cold Harbour and the numbers. I can't have Lost being just 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. That's in my head. I know that from 2005
I know
or
what
whatever
that
it
means,
is.
so lucky me.
You never watched Lost?
No. Okay, yeah, I think I can agree with that. I think you got to have some answers to make room for new questions.
Yes, and then we can get a big, like, extra question or a big reveal of why. But what do you think? Give us your theories. If you know somehow, like if, I don't know, maybe if something got out, don't say it, but like tell us other cool stuff.
Yeah, because then we can say those comments on the episode on Friday.
Like this cool comment.
Oh.
Dang, that's a
Well
good
done
one.
you. Oh, God, I was shocked at that one. It was brilliant.
Thank you.